Hello and welcome to Central Florida Salute YouTube. I'm here once again at the AMVETS Post 2006 in downtown Leesburg, Florida. And I have a veteran with me who's probably one of the prettiest veterans I ever had. But her name is Brandy Currie, and she served in the United States Army.
Yes.
I got your bio that you sent me, and you're a very interesting lady. You know, tell us a little bit about yourself. You said you were born in Florida. From what I understand, you want to start with that, and then let's go into when you went into the Army and why.
Okay, so I was actually born in Eustis, off of McDonald Avenue. So that's not the hospital, clearly. But I was born in a home, didn't make it to the hospital, back in 1982 on 9/11, actually, and was on my own at age 15 and emancipated at 16, dropped out of high school, was signed out by my mother at age 16 as well. I think it was halfway through 9th grade. I went to Eustis High, not long, and ended up having my daughter. I was age 17, Caitlin, I had her. She's also a veteran, Air Force veteran. And then,
above all, baby.
I know, she served 6 years in the Air Force, super proud of her. And my son is actually serving as well. So it was right around 9/11, actually. It was my birthday. 9/11 happened, and at that time I didn't even realize women could join the military. And I was speaking with my uncle, who was actually killed in the line of duty in Eustis, 2005, I believe, Wayne Kester.
How? Was he an officer or a policeman or what?
He was a deputy sheriff.
Oh, okay.
So he actually he served in Umatilla, the police department in Umatilla, and then went over to the sheriff's department, and he was added on a domestic violence call, and he was killed. That was, I believe, February 2005. And so, anyways, back up to 9/11, my birthday, I think I maybe turned 20, and I started asking about the military, and my uncle said, yeah, you could totally join the military. Women could join the military. You could do this. And so I did. And I joined right after 9/11 because of 9/11. And that was kind of the start of my military journey. I wanted to make a better life for myself, for my daughter, and I didn't think that was going to happen if I stayed in Eustis and didn't do something. So.
Well, I've read your bio, and you've come a long way. You're very you're now are you a doctor? Is that what it's considered a?
No. So I'm a psychotherapist, mental health therapist. It's a little psycho and a little therapist. I'm non-conventional. I like to work with trauma survivors and combat veterans. I actually went from dropping out of high school and got my GED several years later, and then, of course, joined the military as a combat medic, became an EMT, would get my bachelor's degree in political science because I wanted to argue and get into politics. And then I decided one day, that's not what I'm meant for. I'm meant to give back. And we had a lot of veterans who were taking their lives. And so that's what prompted me to go back to school with 6 children and to get my master's in clinical social work and therapy from Florida State University. Go Noles. We're back at it this year. And so, yeah, I actually graduated in the middle of the pandemic from home. So my graduation was on the big screen. It was like 2019 or 2020. So that's kind of what led me to being a psychotherapist and focusing on veterans, combat veterans specifically, and sexual assault survivors.
Tell me a little bit more about, you went in the Army, and what did you do in the Army? And, and how long were you in the Army? You were Afghanistan veteran, right?
So I was in Afghanistan from 2005, 2006. I was in from 2002 to 2009. My son, Jackson, he's 16. He's also a 9/11 baby, so we share the same birthday. He was born in Germany, and so I served from 2002-ish to 2009. Ended up getting out of the military in Germany, essentially, because, well, we were on our third child by then. And so somebody had to stay home, and start to raise all these kids. Well,
You need to mention who your husband is.
Oh. Yes.
I mean, you say somebody had to stay home.
So my husband, Russ Currie, he was in 3rd ID, and in the military, combat veteran, was actually at Arlington and the Pentagon on 9/11, and has done several tours in Iraq. And of course, I went to Afghanistan. So we both kind of came together over dinner one night and said, all right, so we're on our third child. Who's going to be raising the kid or the kids, the children? And he looks at me and he goes, well, why don't we see who's got the most time in service, who's getting paid more, and then we can make the decision from there. And I looked right at him and I said, well, you're higher rank, at least at work, not at home.
That's right.
And so how about this? You stay in, and then I will start volunteering, go back to school, raise some children, chase some children, and that's how we made the decision. So he stayed in, and I got out and started raising all these little ones.
And you know where you can find his story?
Let me guess.
Yes.
On the YouTube channel.
Central Florida Salute.
That part. So he's actually wonderful. He's a saint. My husband has done a great job at being a husband and a soldier.
Coach.
And he's a coach at Eustis High for JV and varsity football. He coaches our son, Jackson, who's the quarterback for Eustis. He's a sophomore and second year varsity quarterback. So super proud of him.
Now, let's go back, because this is primarily about military. Our theme is. You were in Afghanistan. What were you doing in Afghanistan? Were you embedded in with the troops, or were in an office? What did you do?
So in Afghanistan, I was a combat medic. So I was actually really excited to go and be deployed to Afghanistan, because, I was thinking, well, this training, this time, I want to be able to put it to action. So I went over there. I arrived in Kabul, Afghanistan, and spent usually a week and a half, a month in the troop medical clinic, where we took care of ISAF, so essentially all of the military branches, the local nationals, the Italian army, Mongolian army. If you served in your country's military and you were deployed, we took care of you. And so I would spend about a week and a half at the troop medical clinic, and then the other 2.5, 3 weeks of the month, I would go to Gardez, Afghanistan, as one of usually there was 1 or 2 females, but not too many. The other gal that I had with me was actually a dental tech. And so they asked me one day, they said, are you okay with going outside the wire? And so going outside the wire, going off the military base. And I said, well, that's why that's why I'm here, to go outside the wire. And I did. And we did many MedCap missions, so medical missions in which, the children and the women would come and we would meet them there. Granted, I was one of two women that could go and actually see the local nationals, the females, because in Afghanistan, the men aren't treating the local nationals. That's not allowed. And so typically I would go into a building or a home with these children and women and children, and the doctors and the PAs, men, would sit outside and call into me, and I would tell them what was going on, and we kind of go back and forth, but it was all through a door or through a window, because that was one spot in the world where only a woman was welcome.
Yeah, and we're going to put a little picture in here right now. There's a lady I had you met, a veteran, Catherine Wilgus.
Yes.
And that's her picture right there you're going to see. And she's also an Afghanistan veteran, combat veteran. And she's a vice president for Ashley's House. And so I know about the role the women veterans played, because Ashley White was killed because she went into a village with a couple of soldiers, and then when they got into this hooch or tent, whatever it was, they blew it up and killed her. And so that's why Ashley's House is going up in Eustis to help women transitioning out of the military, and it's all in Ashley's name. There was rumors, I don't know, there's a lady over there, about Ashley's being in a movie. Is there anything we don't know? But there was talk about it. But yeah, I understand what you veterans did, you lady veterans. You could not, our officers, our soldiers could not talk to the women. And so that's where a very important part that you guys played, So you must have gone to quite a few places. Get a little scary at little times, or what?
Honestly, it was a little scary at times, but it was exhilarating at the same time, knowing that you're going to be assisting these women and these children who no one else could reach. I will also mention that this was a time where the young girls in Afghanistan wanted to go to school but were unable to go, and so we would be on rooftops. When I say we, the men, the guys, the infantry would be on rooftops, just kind of guarding and making sure that when we came underground with a few secret squirrel women who were also on the mission to help children and to allow these girls to go to school, they would basically watch out for us, and we would come in, underground, sometimes early in the morning, late at night, to reach these women and children. And so for me, while it was a little scary, I was away from two of my children at the time, my two oldest children. It was an honor that I never took for granted.
Brandy, you brought along something. What is this you brought along?
So, funny enough, I got at least 2 proposals from local national gentlemen who would clean our bathrooms and come on base. And so, obviously with any proposal, you have to have some sort of like jewelry or gift. And so this was actually one of the outfits, these lovely little pants and this lovely little headdress.
I used to have a pair of pajamas like that.
Well, you know what? It's cute. I love it. But how nice, right? That they would have their mothers make these articles. This one specifically, I remember this one was very eager to not have me leave Afghanistan, but
Anyway,
unfortunately...
Let me hold that up there.
You want to hold that up?
Yeah.
Look at this beautiful Afghan dress. absolutely love this, and this was made especially for me. And then this little coin, it's just a bunch of different coins, and I was given this too. So, you know, I was blessed by the Afghan people, and I enjoyed my work with them. And even the guys, you know, you got to shoot your shot. So I don't blame them for giving me these beautiful artifacts that I will take with me until I can pass them on to my children. I will never go back to Afghanistan, you know?
I don't blame you.
And I'll never go back there again, but the experience will always stay with me. And just being able to see these children, actually, so I'll just mention one little story real quick, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. That's why you're here.
Okay. So there was this little girl, she's probably about 8, 9 months old, and she came into the troop medical clinic, and I took care of her, and we had her set up in a bed, and she's the sweetest little girl, but she had been injured. I believe she had been injured in town, and her parents were there to essentially get her medical care. And I took care of her, and I ended up going on leave for 2 weeks back to the States. And so I'm excited, and I get some formula and diapers and all of these things, because this little girl had kind of become my little one away from home, you know. And I come back, and this little girl, they couldn't find her. She was nowhere to be found. So I had sent some of my friends, I'm like, hey, when you guys go out on patrol, can you check and see, you know, where Layla is? Layla Grace. That's kind of like the name that I had given her. Mm-hmm. Came back, and she was never seen from again. And apparently she was injured, hurt by her family, because of course, as military, we would give them, you know, money to help with their businesses and whatnot. So I had grown attached to this little girl, probably shouldn't have. And then I came back from my leave, and she was no longer with us. And I remember that being the first experience from deployment that I knew would stick with me for the rest of my life.
That had to be tough on the old heart.
It was so hard, and as a mother, to be. Did
you ever find her?
No.
No?
No, never found her. I actually have there's a picture of her, I believe, on my Facebook. If I can remember right. I think there is still a picture of her on there. But I actually would go on to name my daughter, who's 13 now, Emily Grace. I named her Emily Grace after Layla Grace from Afghanistan. So that was a little, you know, that I would say that's the first experience that really sticks out to me in Afghanistan, and that will never be far from my memory.
I've heard, I never was in Afghanistan or anything, but I've heard about some of what the Taliban would do to people who talk to the military. You know, it's you don't realize how lucky we are in this country, you know, what we have, you know.
We are.
And yeah, that had to be very hard. It had to be very hard on you. But
it was.
So you were there, would you say how long?
I was there from 2005 to 2006. We actually arrived back home to the States on July 4th. So it was
July.
It was.
They had fireworks for you when you came home, right?
They really did. So we came back to, I believe it was Fort. Pardon me. Well, I have a neurodivergent brain, so sometimes, you know, and that's kind of slang or proper term for ADHD, PTSD. So sometimes you might forget what you're saying or in the middle of whatever it is that you're saying. But we came back on July 4th and at Fort Benning. And it was a show, and it was really good to be back home. But at the same time, as wild and crazy as this seems, there was also this feeling of, I kind of miss it. You know, how do I miss this very dusty, yet in my, you know, my perception was that it was a beautiful place. You know, Afghanistan, I got there, and not only was it hot, but I also got snow in the winter, and it was beautiful, and the people were beautiful, and I would say as much as I didn't enjoy it, I enjoyed it, so I missed it when I came back.
And you had to have a great deal of satisfaction with all the people you helped and everything too, and I think that's part of you, because of what I read about your bio and what you're doing now. You're still trying to make a difference, right?
So one person, I remember this woman telling me, one person can change the trajectory of your life. And her name was Beth Crumpler. She was actually I think she was a state attorney in Eustis in Lake County. She's actually since died of cancer, but she was a woman who stood up for me, and she was that one person that changed the, you know, trajectory of my life in a lot of ways. She represented me in a sexual assault case and took it to the cleaners, and he ended up going to prison. So a wonderful woman, but the reason why I actually went into this work that I'm doing now is, you know, I was on my own at 15, and I'm out of school at 16, and I needed that one person. And when you come back from deployment and, you know, you're a survivor of sexual assault, and you experience all these hardships, you realize that it is really one person that can truly make a difference in your life at any different moment. And so I serve, I give back to veterans, to combat veterans and sexual assault survivors, usually because I enjoy being that one person for them,
Making a difference.
and making a difference, you know. So we moved back 2 years ago, and I've been seeing Michigan veterans and Floridians, Florida veterans, and I try to see as much as I can. A lot of people don't want to go to the VA necessarily for their therapy. They don't want to go to, you know, the government veteran crisis lines.
Yeah.
And so this is a way that I can give back to them and also allow them to see that they're not alone. And if I can be on my own at 15 years old, you know, in Daytona Beach, and 16 years old, and I can turn it around and I can do it, I could also be that person that walks them through the process to do it as well.
And I think that's great. Let me ask you a question. Do you work with the VA if somebody comes in and, you know, because I know they have like outpatient, you know, I go to, like if I have to see a doctor or a specialist, I call the VA and say, listen, I'm not going all the way to Orlando. My back is bothering me. I can't make it. I want to see you such and such. So they have the outpatient kind of thing. Do you work with the VA at all?
I go to the VA. I don't, because I'm also a disabled veteran as well. I do not have a direct line to the VA, but I have a direct line to so many different organizations that will send me an email and say, hey, you know what, I've got this veteran that needs therapy, and usually I have 5 to 7 slots that I will give a month or bi-weekly. And so they send me an email, and then we'll do virtual therapy, whether it's from Michigan or Floridians all over the state of Florida. So while I don't have a direct connection to the VA in that sense, as far as referrals, I do have a direct connection as in word of mouth. Lake County especially. I just got a message yesterday in inbox and Facebook, hey, do you take Champ VA? Well, no, I don't take Champ VA. I utilize Champ VA, but you know, we're not charging for combat veterans to be seen in this aspect. So while
so the veteran can see you for no charge, the combat veteran?
so typically I'll have 5 to 7 or 8 clients a month that I see that are combat veterans or sexual assault survivors, because that's also near and dear to my heart. That's the first place I went to work and get all my hours as a clinician, was with sexual assault survivors, and then actually worked at the VA, working with combat veterans as well. So yes.
Yeah, well, the reason I ask is the outpatient community care kind of thing. Like I have a very bad back. You know, I have lumbar spinal stenosis and arthritis. It gets, for me to ride for an hour somewhere,
Right.
it makes my whole day terrible because I can't really get around sometimes. Other days I'm fine, but if they wanted to do a X-ray on me or whatever, I talk to the VA, the outpatient thing, and they send me over here to Leesburg, where I can get the X-ray done instead of going all the way to Orlando.
Which is a blessing, because
It is.
that ride to Lake Nona, it's at least an hour and 15 minutes, and
If the traffic's not bad.
if the traffic's not bad, I can't tell you how many times I have been in traffic. So we're back-to-back traffic, and I get a call from the VA saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, the doctor's not in. We need to cancel your appointment." And I'm just sitting there in traffic going, "Are you kidding me?"
I've never had that problem, but
Lucky
lucky me.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
It's happened to me 3 times. So I really, and I know it's happened to Catherine. She told me so. Yes, they can message me, and virtually, like that is, if there was ever one thing that came out of COVID that was wonderful, was the fact that, okay, virtually, we can see people virtually. And so if they don't want to leave their house, if they're struggling,
You can do like a Skype type thing.
I can absolutely Zoom. So I will
yeah.
see them on Zoom, and we could do an hour of therapy, and they never have to leave their house.
I have a very talented partner. You've met her. She's sitting over there. But
yeah.
we have done shows via Skype. And no, Zoom? It's Zoom.
Zoom.
Oh, I call it. See, that's why she's a technician and she's a technical. I'm just a pretty face. But anyway.
I mean, you are a guy. You are a male. I'm going to take it easy
talk
on
to
you.
your husband now.
Yeah, well,
But anyway.
remember, he may have been higher rank, but at home, I'm always higher rank, because I'm the queen
they
of the
say that
castle.
In any relationship, there's always one person in charge and the other one's the husband. I know how that works.
It's true.
Believe me.
It's true.
I've got a general too at home. But anyway, we have done shows with some truly great veterans that have a great story via that Zoom, and out in Idaho or up north, all over the place, and it's amazing what we can do nowadays,
It truly makes it accessible. Care accessible, connection with the community accessible. It really makes the world accessible, and I found that with a lot of combat veterans with PTSD and a lot of sexual assault survivors with PTSD. It's not easy to get out there in the world, and so if we could start working on the mental health aspect and the allowing the veteran, allowing the survivor to know that they're not walking in this alone. If we can do that from the comfort of their home, I mean,
why not?
Like, exactly, why not?
Yeah.
So, I enjoy my job.
Yeah, you have a practice in Eustis, is it?
I do. So I see clients from Michigan and from Florida, and private practice in Lake County. Currently, I don't have a physical office. I did for a year, and I just gave that up beginning of summer because, well, I can do everything virtually right now, and I have 6 children. So I need to be.
You're a little busy.
I'm a little busy, and I need to be flexible, and I need to be able to run out if necessary.
So where did you get your education from for your certificate to do this stuff?
So
What college?
Okay, well, first it had to start with the GED, right?
Right.
So Lee Adult was in Leesburg, and so I got my GED there years ago, and then EMT, compliments of the Army, and then University of Maryland University College, which is wonderful for veterans because you can essentially take classes online. In fact, I took my first class for my bachelor's degree from Afghanistan. It was a humanities class, and I think it was on Egypt, ancient Egypt. And so that was my first class, and I got a bachelor's degree in political science. And you, I'm sure, are so surprised that literally I'm in the hospital bed in labor finishing a paper, and my professor is like, Brandy, it was a debate class because political science degree, and he's like, Brandy, just do the paper after you give birth. Like, I've got you, I got your 6, right? I said, no, I got to get this done because once baby comes, I'm not going to have any time. And so I finished my paper from the hospital in Landstuhl. So Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, where all the wounded veterans would come. And I think Catherine was there too at the hospital.
We should mention why we're filming this. Catherine's sitting over there.
Yes, Catherine is sitting over there.
Yeah.
So I'm not just bringing up Catherine for nothing.
Catherine is Lieutenant Commander Catherine Wilkes, who was in the United States Navy, Afghanistan veteran, and I was going to interview you, and I said, well, I have to call Catherine and tell her about you.
And I'm so
these
glad
two
you
hit
did.
it right off, I'll tell you right now.
I'm so glad you did.
But you get involved with some of the stuff with her, with Ashley's house. She's an amazing lady. And so are you.
Thank you.
I give you a lot of credit, yeah. 6 kids and doing all what you do, that's amazing. I heard about you, I said, from your husband. I said, he said, you got to, my wife's got quite a story. I says, well, and he's right, you got quite a story.
It's quite a story. I'm actually starting to write a book on that story because not only is the story is amazing, but for me, resiliency, I had no choice. Resiliency wasn't a choice. And here I am, and I have 6 amazing children from 25 down to the youngest, who's 10. I'm a psychotherapist. I've been able to serve not only my country, but in the volunteer capacity with the military as a family readiness group leader, which was an adventure in itself. And if you've ever, had a partner that's in the military, FRG, Family Readiness Group, is always an interesting little group to. Yeah,
you and your husband have quite the story. He's been around in the military, and what he's doing now is a coach. Yeah, you guys are something else, I'll tell you. What a team.
That's it. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I will say that I would never have had 6 children. I would never have had, I would never have gotten through school, all of these different things if I didn't have a good partner to assist me. And
the king of the castle.
And
no?
I mean, I'm the queen, so there's still, I will say this, he never dims my light. So we'll be in public, and of course, because he was at Arlington on 9/11. He was at the Pentagon. He did 2 tours in Iraq. I mean, the guy is just amazing. But when people come up to him and say, oh my gosh, thank you for your service, Sergeant First Class Currie, he goes, well, hold on a second. My wife's over there. She's also a combat veteran. She also served in Afghanistan. And he's done that from day one, and I really appreciate it.
He's the one when I found out about him. I don't know how I found out about him. Maybe it was Keith Oliver. I'm not sure.
Probably Keith Oliver. He's amazing too, by the way.
And I interviewed him, and that's one thing he said. He says, you got to interview my wife. She's got quite the story. And he's right. You're an amazing lady. Veteran.
Do you know his mother actually taught, I believe it was my Uncle Wayne, Kester, who was killed in the line of duty. She actually taught him years ago in elementary school, I believe it was. And so we would actually meet and realize that we lived a block away from each other. Of course, he's an old man. He's like 8.5 years older than I am. But just to see how close we were in this little town of Eustis, and then to be connected again after, you know, I served, he served a little bit, and then we kind of came together. His best friend and my best friend got us together. So we've supported each other. He was getting his MBA while I was getting my master's degree, you know.
I talked to Colonel Oliver just this morning, as a matter of fact. I talk to him just about every other day.
He did a wonderful article on me, by the way.
Oh, yes, we hold that up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
All right, tell us about the article.
Okay, so this article, I believe it was from
the North Lake.
Yeah, the North Lake Outpost.
Yep.
And a wonderful little article he did on me, and I never even saw it. And so I got a call from our mayor, Willie Hawkins. He's like, hey, you need to call the Chamber of Commerce. And so I called the Chamber of Commerce, and I spoke with Marie there, and she said, yeah, I just saw that you were Warrior of the Week. Keith Oliver put you in the North Lake Outpost. I said, what? And so I went over and I picked up a copy of this, and he's wonderful. He's done wonderful articles on my husband, as well as my husband's uncle, Jerry Lee Patrick.
You know, he helps me out a lot, too, because we used to be on the radio together.
Okay.
But he had to take a back seat because he doesn't drive that much anymore. You know, but I talk to him on the phone at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And he will give me a name of somebody. He says, call this one or have them out. This one's going to call you. So, yeah. And when I first started in the radio, that's about 7 years ago.
Okay.
It was me and the Colonel. He was writing for the Daily Commercial. I was doing Lakefront TV. And James Floyd has the radio station. So James had this idea, let's get the radio, TV, and the newspaper and start this show. And
Nice.
The show's still going. I do it every other week now, and we got some other people. General Sullivan is going to help out with it, and our commander here is going to be doing some of the shows. And
what's the focal point of the show? Is it
it's all
veteran
about veterans
okay.
and resources. And matter of fact, I'm looking for somebody to come on my radio show, and I think you'd be just the one.
I would absolutely love that.
All right, well, I'm going to schedule you.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. Any chance that I can come on and talk about what I do and
making a difference. Yeah, I'll tell you, that's what this is all about, and that's what that radio show is all about people that making a difference, you know, I'm happy to have you.
And there's so many in even our little community, like Lake County, Eustis, Mount Dora, Tavares, Leesburg. There's so many veterans in this area, and most of the time you're not going to hear that they're a veteran, they're a combat veteran, and they've done this, that, and the other, because that's just not the nature. But I have met so many veterans in Lake County that I'm so proud to say that I've served with, and it's actually interesting when I see some of them that I deployed with in town, and
You still see them, huh?
Oh yeah, and I have a couple who are teachers, and to see them go from boys, literally boys, to men, where they're teachers and they're coaches and they're fathers, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And one thing that Russ and I agreed on years ago, we looked at each other and we were like, we got to get back to Lake County. Eventually, we've got to get back to Lake County, because we need to go and take who we are and what we want to give back. We've given to so many people across America, but we need to come back and be in our own community. And so we came back 2 years ago, and it's been great. It's been a wonderful experience.
You know, I try to tell people or veterans to join a Legion, VFW, or an AMVETS. You know, you never know. When I walk in that door, and I sat down next to a guy, his name was Walter Moss. big guy, who always had a smile and a laugh. He came down with Agent Orange and he died. But he was United States Marine Corps tunnel rat.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, here's this big guy with a smile on his face, and you wouldn't know it, you know. And he didn't really. We don't really normally talk a whole lot, but through this show we do, and we try to put out resources for people that, like yourself, that could help somebody.
Sure.
And that's so. I think we kind of covered it. Do you want to tell them if somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they need some help, you want to give some information?
Sure, absolutely. So I actually have, aside from veteran, interaction, I have on October 15th, I have a sexual assault support group that's starting, and let's see here. So
I'm going to tell you something. You're given a date. This may not even air until after that date.
Okay.
But if you have a web page or something where they can check it out and say, oh yeah, by the way, next week,
So if you go to your Google browser, and this is going to be the easiest way to find me, Psychology Today, you put in Brandy, Brandy, Currie, Currie, you put that in the search engine, you're going to bring up my page, my profile. You could send me an email through there, or you can find me at Got Your Six, so 6 the number, so Got Your Six Counseling at gmail.com, and you can find me that way.
Okay, well,
And I can connect you to some services. And like I said, if you're needing mental health care, if you're a combat veteran, if you're a sexual assault survivor, or if you just need mental health care, because I do have a private practice, so there's that too. Feeding 6 children, or excuse me, 5 now, because one's out on her own. But find me at Got Your Six Counseling at Gmail, and I will get you taken care of.
What rank were you when you got out?
I was an E5, so
E5,
a sergeant. Yeah.
All right, Sarge. Well, listen, we're going to say goodbye.
Okay.
And I think you know how we do it. Maybe not.
You know what? I think it's a salute, right? Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, we got to stand up at least, right?
No.
No. Okay. All right then.
Well,
I have permission. I have permission to sit and salute.
Okay. I was only E4, so you outranked me anyway. To all our, well, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. But
Okay.
To all our veterans out there, To all our veterans out there, our active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time.
All right.
Today I'm at AMVETS Post 2006, a major sponsor of Central Florida Salute. And I want to introduce to you the commander here, Ronnie Mack. Ronnie, tell us a little bit about AMVETS 2006. Where are you located? And
we are at 500 North Canal Street, Leesburg, Florida. It's right off of 441, between 441 and Main Street on Canal. Can't miss us. And we're a veterans organization, along with, we have an auxiliary, and we have sons of veterans that are related some form or another to a veteran. And we do a lot for a lot of charitable donations and stuff to charities in the area and in the county. And we're a major sponsor to Central Florida Salute. We're proud of it. We're glad to be. You guys do a heck of a job, and we'll sponsor you as long as I'm here. We're going to sponsor you. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we do. Sue and I really appreciate it. We're a 2-person operation. Yep. And what we try to do with education and supporting our veterans community, and you supporting us is major thing. It's major.
We're glad to do it, Bob. We're glad to do it.
And you have sons here. You have auxiliary here. You've got a website too if somebody wants to join.
Yep. It's don't punch into www. It's amvets-2006.org, and it'll take you right to our website, Facebook page, and all that's there, and you'll be able to find that. The webmaster, he tries to get the calendar on there every month, anything pertinent. There's a lot of other links on there for veterans to find out where to get help for certain claims and stuff like that. Our webmaster's really into that stuff. That's the guy you ought to be interviewing right there. So,
well, you know what,
he's got
Ronnie?
a lot of stuff.
You have a lot of clout. You tell him to talk to me, and we'll get him on the show. Okay?
I can do that.
All right. But I just want to, on behalf of Sue and myself, we want to thank AMVETS 2006 because you guys are the major players behind us, and we appreciate it.
But we just wish we could do more. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.